Okay. Hi folks, May the 14th, about 1:40 in the morning, got up from my dialysis nap. Missed I'm a few days late on this, and really haven't felt up to snuff. My weight, as it's associated with the dialysis procedure, had gone up, and when I would go to the sessions, they would pull more fluid off of me, which was very fatiguing. And I've had a lot of trouble with my scales. I have scales here in the house. Actually, I've got 4 sets now, but I had 3 sets of scales, 2 of which were specifically for kilos. I do not weigh you in pounds and ounces as it pertains to procedures at the clinic. They weigh you in kilos. And for whatever reason, the 2 scales that I bought, it's been some months ago. Remember, if you folks who watch my stuff, you remember I held up the scales and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they've been lying to me. They were weighing me, say a 1.5 kilos to 2 kilos short. Well, a kilo is 2.7 pounds. So I was going in 5 to 8 pounds heavy every day, and of course they take it off of you. And to say that it's stressful to sit down and lose 5 to 7 pounds in 4 hours. You just don't feel like doing anything. I have felt like I've been beat up for a couple of weeks now. I got last week's thought for the day in, but I was tired. Anyway, went back to Wally World, and I spent $45 on a new scale. Scales shouldn't cost that much, but this one appears, for the moment at least, to be correct. I weighed on it this morning before I went to the clinic, and it showed my weight. I got to the clinic, I got on their scale, showed the same, which is great, because I won't have any more surprise parties, and surprise parties are very stressful. Anywho, that's one of the reasons I'm late with my input. This chair's still doing with input this week. I was just tired. Gonna mow tomorrow. My sons didn't come around for Mother's Day. They're coming next week, and that's fine. I guess Mother's Day is an arbitrary day, as long as they show up and say, "I love you, Mom." And she took it well. I got her some flowers, Tiana, and I treated her good. It seemed to go off well. I'm gonna mow tomorrow because, of course, I want the place to look good for when the family comes in, and they'll be here Saturday or Sunday. So get up in the morning and mow. Politics, boy, the Republicans are just on a tear. They are Benghazi. They think that, dare them talk, you think that Obama over and liquidated our ambassador himself. They're just on a tear. I don't know if he's done something wrong or not. If he has, then he should have to suffer for it. But I don't believe he has. I think that at the moment he's the result of bad information. Probably somebody screwed up. I don't know if it was Hillary or who, but they're trying to cover their butt. And of course, he's the president, and the buck stops there, and the Republicans are just eating it up. The the right-wing talk radios, they just going after him. And then Uh, it appears that back in 2010, 2009, 2010, that the IRS started looking over and canvassing and looking into the business of some of these teabaggers and some of the radical right-wing conservatives and whatnot. I hate to say it, but I don't really give a flip. I mean, those people, as far as I'm concerned, are trying to ruin the country. And if there's any way to slow them down, I'm for it. I'm not for breaking the law. But we all know that when one political party is in office and the other one's out raising sand with them, that there are measures that they take to kind of bring pressure on the other guy, to kind of make him back up, and I remember when Obamacare was being debated in Obama's first term. They had meetings, their town meetings, and they were going to talk it over, try to explain to them what it was about and whatnot. And the Tea Party or the tea baggers and the right-wing millionaires, they loaded people up in buses and carried them around to these meetings, and these people went into the meetings screaming and yelling and disrupting the thing. I mean, there was no way to conduct a civil meeting because they just wouldn't have it. Don't you touch my Medicare. And I mean, these people that were screaming this were 70 years old. Anyway, it got to the point, I remember there was one scene somewhere, they were having a town meeting, and the people had gathered outside the building, and there was a guy, it turned out that it was a black guy, was walking around with an M16, a loaded M16 slung over his shoulder. I guess because it was his Second Amendment rights to do it. I mean, it was a, what's the word I'm looking for? It was just, it was a very aggravating, insightful thing that he did. But, he can do that. Those people, they did everything they could think of to disrupt things. Anyway, now it appears that by the way, the person that was doing the investigating was appointed by Bush. He was Bush's appointee to the head of the IRS. In fact, it doesn't matter. They're going to blame it on Obama anyway. And they're screaming and yelling about that. They're just... they're doing anything they can think of. They're dredging up anything they can think of to try to shame him, make him look bad. And the pathetic part about it is that their real purpose, well, there's two. One is the man's black, and they just can't abide the fact that there's a black president. But then, the other thing is that, let's assume that they raise enough sand that at the next election they come in, they take the presidency, they take both houses of Congress, and all this falderall and hell raising that they're doing now is successful, and they basically run the Democrats, in the corner. First thing they would do would be to probably do away essentially with Social Security as we know it. They'd turn Medicare into a voucher program. I mean, that's what this is all really about. Is that their political philosophy is that, screw you, I got mine. And of course, Obama and his administration are liberals, left-wingers, more populists, and they can't handle it. So you can believe me, if they are successful in crippling him, taking over both houses of Congress, to even maybe have a president, Republican president, and both houses of Congress, you can believe me that Social Security will change dramatically from what it is today. Medicare will just cease to exist as we know it, because they'll give you a voucher. They want to do this. They want to, they call these entitlement programs. And this is really what's driving all this crap, Oh, it's like a big smoke screen. I mean, bless their hearts. They've been checked into because they were rowdies. So somebody tried to slow them down a little bit by checking into their financial things. But what they really want is to do away with the last vestiges of the New Deal, which came in under Roosevelt back in the 30s. And they want Reaganomics to resurface. Like I say, Reaganomics, screw you, I got mine. This whole thing is being driven by piles of big time, money. Billionaires are funding it. And I sure hope that my man, Mr. Obama, hadn't screwed up and let himself get in a bad position. Clinton did that. Clinton's a good president, but he did that thing in the Oval Office, and of course that gave him an in, and they never quit. I mean, they spent almost 6 years, muddying the waters with, what was a private thing, and of course they're looking for something to go after Obama on, and they think they've got it. I've noticed this evening I watch CNN. I don't watch Fox. Fair and Balanced is not fair and balanced, and but I heard CNN talking tonight, so maybe this thing about the tax thing is getting some traction. I don't know. I hope not. Anyway, I've been telling you folks stories of things that happened in my life. Worked at the post office and stuff like that. So I've got another one tonight. The guy's dead, so I think I can mention his name. I had a fellow that I worked with at the post office, ex-Navy swabby, named Sam Rigi. And Sam actually was kind of a hothead, but he was a good fellow. And Sam was married and had a couple of kids. And time progressed, and back in the mid-70s, most of the states within a year or two passed a thing called no-fault divorce, which I can really get into that. I think the nation's gone in the tank, and one of the reasons is because of no-fault divorce. Anyway, my first wife divorced me. Sam's wife divorced him. Sam, like I say, he was a retiree from the Navy, worked there at the post office, and a pretty good income. His wife divorced him, and I think he was paying at that time, this would be 75, 76, $1,200 a month child support, which was astronomical in those days, but he had pretty good income. So Sam went out on his way, and me too, both single, out, doing what single guys do. And actually, I had a second marriage. Didn't last very long, about a year. And during that time, I leased a house over in Arlington, Texas. It's part of the thing. I had a house, and it was a mistake. My first wife divorced me. We'd been married 14 years. About 14 years, I felt like I was born married, needed to be married again. When first woman said she would, I did get married. And it didn't take a whole lot of time to realize, that, boy, talk about rebound. Anyway, we separated, and after a while we divorced. Anyway, Sam kind of did the same thing. He took a little longer. First wife, he divorced her, and he out doing his thing. Anyway, I had been married and once again divorced, and now we're working down there at the post office one night, and Sam comes in all starry-eyed, and he's met this lady. He gonna get married. Of course, I just being told to God, boy, I've been married twice, to take it from me, don't do it, yada, yada, yada. Of course, now I've been married 3 times, and I've been married 30 years, the third time, so it does work, but this is a story. It's true, though. Anyway, Sam was just smitten. And this gal had 2 kids. And after a while, he married her. They rocked along a year or two. Sam came in one night all down the mouth, said that the wife was mad, wanted a divorce, yada, 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 you know. But she had told him that if he would adopt her children, then she'd feel more secure in the relationship. I said, Sam, don't do that. Because I'm already paying child support to the first wife. Don't do it, Sam. Just don't do it. I mean, you're married to her, okay, that's good. Don't adopt the kids. Well, I love her, and she's going to leave me, and, you know, this will make her feel better. Don't do it, Sam. Okay, well, time rocks along. About 3 weeks later, Sam comes in. I did it. Adopted the kids. They're my kids now. I love them. Yes, sir. Well, okay. More time rocks along. We worked nights from midnight to 8 in the morning. And he worked on a letter sorting machine. And I'm in there hand sorting mail one night. My machines are off over at the side. And I see this guy comes through the back door of the post office. And he approaches Sam. And he hands him a piece of paper. You know what that was. He'd been served. She put a summons on him to court notice. She was divorcing him. Oh my goodness. Of course, he was just... I can't believe he didn't know it was coming. But, you know, it's like, well, you tried to tell him, you know. This was about 2 months after he had adopted the kids. Well, anyway, he was just... To say he was overwhelmed was, you know, crying, carrying on. Didn't have any place to go. Could he go at 4 o'clock in the morning? You know, he got a court summons. What'll I do? Well, I had a house. That's where the house comes in. I had a 3-bedroom house. There was just me in the thing. So I said, Sam, I said, you know where I live? Yeah. I said, we get off. He get off before me. I said, go to the house. Door's open. I said, go down the hall, make a right. First door to your right. I said, you find a bedroom there. I said, it's just empty, but there's a mattress up against the wall. I said, throw the mattress down. That's your room. So, I was working over or something. I got home about 10, 11 o'clock. Sam was in his bedroom asleep. I left him alone. Boy, I mean, this thing tore him up. He stayed in that room. If he wasn't at work, he was in there asleep. I mean, it just ate him up. Well, had to go to court. Now, it seemed obvious to us that this woman had entrapped Sam. I mean, she didn't marry him to entrap him, but once she decided she was going to divorce him, the business with the, if you'll adopt the kids, and then 2 months later, you know, that was just a total entrapment. We figured that any judge, you know, if he makes Sam pay child support, you know, it's going to be minimal because this was a blatant piece of crap. Well, Sam goes to court. They're his kids. He adopted them. That judge hit him with $2,000. Now he's paying $3,300 a month child support. Of course, he was a full 20-year retiree out of the Navy, and then full job there at the post office. So he had the money, but like I say, Sam was hot-tempered. I remember he asked me. He said, "Hey, he says, why don't you let me live here? I'll split the rent with you." And I said, "Nah, I don't think so. Because you know yourself, you live in a house. You know where the pots and pans are. You know where everything's at. You don't want people moving around. And you know, you get another person in there and they're paying rent. They're empowered, and all of a sudden things are moving." And I knew me and Sam be out in the yard beating each other up. So I said, "Nah, that's all right, Sam." Anyway. This is really the juicy part. Sam rocked along, and he was sending his checks to the child support thing over at Fort Worth. And he got to looking at his records one day, and the checks to his first wife and the checks to his second wife were both going to the same address. These little darlings had evidently colluded together. And once they each had him hung, then they moved in together. They knew each other. And it was all a plot. Actually, it caused Sam to have a heart attack. Probably killed him. He lived another 4 or 5 years. But those two women, I don't know if the first one did, because of course Sam and her had been married quite a while. But evidently, once he divorced the first lady, somehow these two broads had got to know each other and cooked this thing up, and he was paying them both. And it stuck. He couldn't do anything about it. And of course, I always wanted to say, Sam, I tried to tell you. But anyway, that's the story of Sam Rigi. He married 2 women, and after they both divorced him, then he found out that they had moved in together, and all that money he was pouring out was going to one mailbox, I guess. He didn't kill him. He's pretty hot-headed, you know. I was a little worried he might go over there and burn a joint down with them in there, but he didn't. Of course, there were a bunch of kids in there and whatnot. But there should be some, a situation like that, there should be some way to make that right. There isn't. Ultimately, it killed old Sam. But anyway, that's what no-fault divorce can do to you. I'll have more to say about that one of these days. Anywho, well, today's the 14th, and we're going to leave on the 15th of June, so it's getting close. Going to leave Siegel South to go to Siegel North. I talked to an old friend of mine, John Dooley, on the phone last night. I haven't talked to John in over about 12, 14 years, and then before that, I hadn't talked to John probably in 40 years. But anyway, we talked for about an hour on the phone. That was a lot of fun, John. If you watch this, good day to you. I guess that's it. I told you about Sam. Poor fellow. We've got other ones here, but I'm going to save that for a future date. But I hope my president hadn't screwed up. I hope, because actually he's a sideshow. The real thing that's driving all this is Republicans wanting to do away what they call the welfare state. Well, all entitlements have got to go, according to them, and by God, they're going to do whatever it takes to do it. So, if Obama goes down, he goes down. I don't think he will. But he's really got a mess on his hands right now. And of course, he's smart. I hope he's smarter than Nixon was. Nixon was a Republican. He was smart, but he was stupid. You know, he tried to cover it up. Thing about it, if Obama, if it becomes obvious that someplace in the chain of command that somebody did something bad or screwed up, boy, he needs to cut them loose. Goodbye. Stand up in front of that microphone with that podium with a big logo on it and say, they're out of here. And I think it's the only alternative he has. Anyway, hope everybody has a good week. Talk to you in a week.